Good morning, day 142, and it just stopped raining, and it is so lush. Let me show you. Wow. We had a lot of, so we're not going to see the sun. A lot of rain in the last 24 hours and some storms. But it's beautiful though. Something about this, my nose isn't working all the way yet. I even brought my tissues just in case. But I can get a little bit of the smell. I'm trying to create an experience for you with me, bring you into my little world here. Yeah, just the grayness, but the brightness of the green, the smells of spring, birds chirping, everybody getting ready for whatever the day will bring. Okay, so we're wrapping up Ecclesiastes. We'll be done with it tomorrow. But today I was reading chapters 9 and 10. And I'm going to hone in on verse 10 of chapter 10, 10:10. And it's a good one because I think there's a very famous quote that we've probably already all heard that was used by a president, one of our great presidents, Abraham Lincoln. But the verse is, and this is here in America, of course, but the verse says, it takes a lot of strength to chop down a tree with a dull axe. So spend time sharpening your blade, and it'll be easier. This is wisdom. This is what wisdom will do. It helps you stay sharp. It helps you do things. You know that phrase, work smarter, not harder. I think America's missed the memo on that one. We're all about I'll just work harder, more. And then a lot of us, like me, because I was there too, we I think this is a very common thing at the age that I am right now, this middle age, when you wake up and you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing? This is not working. This is exhausting. Let's push the pause button here and maybe get a little smarter about what we're doing. And the whole chapter 10 of Ecclesiastes is appropriately titled, it's called The Ironies of Life. Now, the word that I use a lot is counterintuitive. Like we've got to learn, we've got these two selves, right? We've got the survival self and the executive self, or whatever labels you want to use. And wisdom is often found in the executive, but it's very counterintuitive to in the moment, like what we're seeing, will seem to work in the moment. Like, hey, the tree needs to be chopped down. I better get to work. If the axe is not sharp, well, I'll just have to work harder. That doesn't seem actually unwise on the surface. Yes, in retrospect, we go, yeah, I should have made sure I kept my tools sharp. But in the moment, you're like, I gotta get this done. I better just do what I can now and just work hard and use more strength. And so it's very, we've all been there, done that. We're like, okay, well, the quote from Abraham Lincoln is, and I love how he puts this because he does put it in perspective of all of this. Like if somebody told me I had an hour to cut down a tree, I would spend 45 minutes sharpening my axe. And you're like, whoa, really? Wow. If somebody told me I had an hour, I would just get busy chopping and hope and just work hard and get it done. And if I looked and saw somebody sitting there with an hour on the clock to chop a tree down, and they were just sharpening their blade for 45 minutes of that hour, I'd be like, right? Like, it's just not, it's counterintuitive to how things look and seem in the moment. So it is kind of easy to say, well, in hindsight, should have kept my blade sharp. But he's saying all things being equal, like you get an hour to chop a tree down, both of you have the same sharpness of a blade. Most of us are going to just get to work chopping, right? And that's how we live life. And then we're looking at the person next to us who's sharpening their blade going, you're like, what's wrong with you? Like, right? We see people like that and we're like confused. But he's the wise one. He's being wise with his time, his energy, his tools, with the whole picture. Like, he gets it. And he'll get that tree chopped down quicker than the one. So I just love, like, in the way he was able to take that verse from Ecclesiastes and one of the ironies or the counterintuitive ways of living life that wisdom is, and putting it into paints a picture for us that we could all like go, oh, but yet, we still won't do it, right? Even one of our wisest presidents, we still don't do it. We're like, we get it intellectually, but we're like, we don't fully trust it. We're like, yeah, that might work for other people, but I better just still work really hard. Even like, and then you finally wake up one day and you're like, okay, maybe I ought to try this strategy of sharpening my axe for 3/4 of my time so that I can really do all of the work and get the stuff done in 1/4 of the time with more ease, less effort. He's just really directing his effort in a more wise way. And it is not, and when you're used to living in the intuitive way of the survival self, of the physical flesh self, and everybody around you is also doing that, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to get out, or I'm going to turn directions and do things differently, because we are pack animals. We do not like to not belong to the majority. Hey, I'm getting a thumbs up. Somebody is like, yep, I hear ya, sister. And so it's hard it's actually hard, even when you know what wisdom is, it's hard to do it because you're voluntarily putting yourself in the minority, taking yourself out of the pack, or making your pack smaller, or having to go find a new pack to support you while still trying to stay connected to your old pack. And they're all looking at you like, whatever, you do you. Okay, good luck with that. Yeah, I'm going to stay over here. And you've got to still kind of be in the mix of the foolishness. Like, it's easy to write a phrase like this in a book. But the reality is that we have complex lives with many networks and families and people that we love. And we don't want to be disconnected, even if we kind of see a different way. And then we've even got to add more wisdom in on top of that and really apply things that we've learned, or else we'll get really sucked back in to, okay, well, I might as well give up. Okay, you're right. We should just, because that person that's given the same hour, let's say you are in the pack. Let's say a pack is given this task. Okay, chop this tree down with an axe. Maybe they'll even take turns and swing hard. Like, the first thing to come to mind is not going to be to sit down for 45 minutes. And if you're the one that sees the wisdom in that, and you spend your time trying to convince the others, they're going to be like, no, we're going to go here and do this. And they will try all the other ways. I know, because I was one of those. And now to wake up and see things and want to do things differently, it can be, you got to really even go and find some other people that see things like this now too. Sorry, I think I spit on you. That's funny. Anyway, so it's very counterintuitive, this wisdom is, because we're looking at things from a whole different perspective, a whole different understanding. Yeah, it's this wisdom stuff is not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. And you got to find some other people that are also kind of seeking to do things this way and get some support too. I often wonder, I bet Abraham Lincoln, really, yeah, that's a good one to even study. I bet he felt very lonely at times, and really trying to change the trajectory of a whole country with some very unpopular ideas at the time. But he stuck to it. He just diligently was sharpening his axe. I mean, he seemed to practice what he preached. But it's easier. These things are easier said than done. I knew this morning, actually, because I'm still not all the way better. You can tell my voice is getting better, though, isn't it? I was like, I'm not getting up as early and with as much energy. And I'm like, I had to kind of drag myself and talk myself into coming here. I was like, well, I could just stay in my PJs and do this from, my comfy deck and outside, and it would have been good. I still would have been showing up and doing it. But I thought, you know what? I better keep that axe sharp, and just get right back to it. Otherwise, even one day, your mentality when you let yourself not sharpen that axe just will... especially my brain, the Enneagram 9 brain, is always looking for a way out of things. It's like, oh, that's, a lot of people are too hard on myself. I have a split personality because I'm a 9 with a 1 wing. I'm very easy on myself, and then I'm really, really hard on myself all at the same time. It's very but I think a lot of us are like that. That's the whole higher self, lower self, all the things. We are kind of multiple personalities. But who's going to win the day? The wise one or the foolish one? I'm trying really hard to let wisdom be the thing that ends up winning in the end. So we'll see. That keeps me moving forward. What my dash is going to be. All right, I'm rambling as I usually do. Have a wonderful day. It's Sunday here, May 22nd, yes, of 2022. Oh, that's a cool number. All right, talk to you all later. Rise and shine.